Hey guys, Youth Night is about to start, and tonight we're starting a series on family. Now, every family is unique, different, and even weird. So, it's high school night here at the church, and we're gonna go around and just ask what are some of the unique, special, weird things about your family. Let's check it out.
Not necessarily something weird. We all have names that have 5 letters in it, first, middle, and last name.
First, middle, and last are all 5.
Yes, all 5 letters.
Whoa.
One thing, it's kind of popular not just amongst my family, but jalapenos, I'm sure you've seen this. Jalapenos with cream cheese, and then you have something else spicy in it, so like Takis. Do you know what Takis are?
Yes, I'm not 100 years old.
Yes, okay. Have you ever had that?
Yes. No, I've had Takis. I haven't had your dip. So it's like a little like dipping?
No, you do a jalapeno, and you take out the center, and then you put cream cheese on the inside, and then you do Takis in that.
We have a lot of really weird traditions. At Easter, we play Helen Keller Easter egg hunt.
This is going. How do you play Helen Keller Easter egg hunt?
We make my little sister, Megan, crawl around the yard with a blindfold on.
Well, I'm a CODA, which means child of a deaf adult. So we do a lot of like very expressive things. I don't know. I've been to a deaf comedy show, which is,
How does that work?
well, they just sign. And then like when it's time for applause, everybody just like goes. But it's
I did know that one. I feel good. I knew that one.
It was my first time, so I was the only one in like an auditorium full of deaf people that just went.
I would say that the strangest part about our family is that we always eat a bowl of warm cheese on New Year's, and it's called fondue, but it's really just warm cheese.
Something that's weird and unique is like we're always busy, even during holidays. It's like we never calm down. That's probably the weirdest.
Share our house with bees.
Well, we sit out in the field all day, and that's basically it.
Our personalities. It's a mix of different personalities, honestly.
Something weird about my family is that I eat breakfast for dinner all the time, like 24/7,
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Lucky Charms, Cheerios. What you got in that bowl?
You got to eat the crepes all the time,
Crepes for dinner constantly.
all the time.
Can I share this? Okay, I have 7 middle names. My name is Zadie Faith Eva Jean Gay Lauren Elaine Allen, and Callie's name is Carolina Valentine Opal Grace Busay Allen. And Maisie's is Maisie May Umaluna Kesher Kathleen Allen.
I think I pretty much live on a farm in the middle of the city. My mom's a veterinarian, so we have a lot of animals. We have like a sugar glider, dogs, chickens. We have 4 cats right now. Just a crazy house.
Just a full ranch.
Full ranch. It's absolutely. She wants to get a horse. I don't even know what's going on anymore. It's just a crazy time all around.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed those. Here's the thing. Every family is unique and a little weird, but you gotta love them. Let's get Youth Night started. Roll the intro.
All right, everybody, what is up? I'm going to hold my hands out here to emphasize everything I'm saying. And you already know it's your boy, intern Nick. And we're back at it again. Thank you for joining us online. And as you can clearly tell, I'm out in Sweden just getting out of a hot tub. And I'm washing myself down with nothing other than Swagger by Old Spice because it smells amazing. Anyways. I just want to encourage you as we head into this week's message and time of fun in Jesus that you follow us on all of our social medias and that you like, comment, and subscribe on this YouTube video. Please, because we need it. We're really trying to work on some sponsorship deals. We got a big one coming up really soon. I bet you've heard of this company. You know, they're pretty big right now. It's Mort's Mortuary. You stab them, we slab them. So if you have any questions about that possible sponsorship deal or any leads, we would love that. And other than that, we're starting a new series that I know you're all going to be very excited about called Family Matters. And that's going to be covering just aspects of the church family, spiritual family, as well as biological family. And we're going to discuss each of those in their own respects and then how we combine those together and what the dynamics look like. So, as we gear up for this week, those are the announcements, and let's get right into what's next.
It's game time, and I am here with my son Ivan, who is a hungry boy and has been learning to eat all on his own recently. His favorite food right now are these little puffs. He could eat a ton of these. But how many can he eat in 1 minute? How many in a minute? That is today's game time. Say your guesses now, and let's play. Well, 4 was the correct number. Good job, buddy. Thanks for playing.
Family. What do you think about when you hear that word? For me, I think about growing up with my mom and my 2 younger brothers. My dad worked a lot, but our time together was awesome when we actually got it. And when my next youngest brother was little, suddenly all the music choices in the car had to be safe for the family. So it made it seem like I didn't really have a choice. I mean, basically my picks were no picks. And I quickly learned that when I was in the car, I needed to just keep my mouth shut. In fact, keeping my mouth shut, that was pretty much my role with my family. Just watch it all happen, observe, and don't rock the boat. And maybe for you, family brings some good things to mind. Or maybe it's the exact opposite. For example, you hear family and think maybe frustration, because your stepsister constantly acts like her time is more important than yours. And then maybe it's annoyance because your parents are super strict and give you a curfew and a schedule to follow like you've just joined the military, right? Or maybe it's chaos because everyone is either fighting or running around 1,000,000 miles an hour, which also leads to some collisions. Now, on the spectrum of awesome to awful, family is rarely ever in the middle. It's awesome 1 minute and it can change in an instant. And our feelings about our families are not the only things that are unique to us, because our literal families are unique. For some of you, your family means a mom and a dad. Some of you live with your aunt and an uncle. Some of you are with a stepmom, stepdad, grandparents, foster parents, half siblings, maybe second cousins. Every family looks different. The truth is, every family is unique. No family looks the same, and no family acts the same way. However, every family has one thing in common. It's complicated. Family is complicated. Whenever you put a bunch of different personalities under the same roof, things can get difficult quick. People have different opinions and preferences and needs and ways of communicating, and it's basically a recipe for complete disaster. And if I had to guess, each of us has experienced a disaster or two within our own families. So what happens when disaster strikes in our families? Well, as a way to deal with the madness, almost every person settles into a role that they play in the family. Think of it as your way of making your family situation work. You get a role, you play it, and it keeps things somewhat predictable and manageable. For example, some of you are the mediator in your family. You're always trying to keep the peace and make everybody happy. Some of you are the avoider. You keep your head down, you keep your mouth shut, you keep your mind in your own business, and eventually this will all just go away. This was kind of my role growing up. Some of you are the instigator. Every time you see something going wrong, you get in the mix and you give your opinion, you stir the pot and let everyone know what they're supposed to do. And some of you are the smart one. You're looked at as the brains of your family. Some of you are the rule follower. You avoid trouble, and for the most part, you do what you're supposed to do. Some of you are the comedian. You turn almost any situation, positive or negative, into a joke or some kind of TikTok video. Now, this list could go on and on for days, but think about it. What is your role in your family? Is it one of the ones that I've listed already? Or is it something else? Or maybe a combination of a few different roles? Sometimes the role you play is influenced by where you are in the order of your siblings, your step-siblings, or your half-siblings. How many of you are the baby of your family? How many are the oldest? What about the middle? Any only children out there? That may affect what role you play in your family. But there is one more twist. Now, I recognize that not all of you would say that you have an active faith in Jesus, and that's okay. You belong here no matter what you believe. But for those of you that do have an active faith in Jesus, your faith can also add a complication to the mix when it comes to your family. Because sometimes it feels like faith and family don't exactly mix well. Maybe you feel confused because you're not sure how you're supposed to live out your faith with your family. You're the only Christian in your household, potentially. And because you love your family, you love to see them develop a faith of their own. But how can you possibly influence them in a way that isn't awkward? Maybe your mom and your stepdad expect you to act a certain way because you claim to be a Christian and there's a certain way Christians are supposed to act. And honestly, it's a lot of pressure. Or maybe the adults in your household, because they care about you, take you to church when you act up in hopes of you getting some positive guidance and direction. Maybe that's why some of you are here today, because now it makes church feel weird. And if you're honest, you may even feel a bit weird too. Maybe your faith is starting to look a little different than the people you live with. You don't want to offend anyone by disagreeing. But the truth is, you don't see eye to eye with them on every aspect of faith, and that in itself creates tension. Maybe faith has been a part of your family for a while, but when you look at your family, and honestly, you're not sure it's working. Faith is talked about, prayers are prayed, church is attended, but the arguments and the tensions aren't solved. You love the people you live with, or at least like them sometimes, but it doesn't seem like faith is solving any of your complicated issues. For a lot of us, it feels like faith is one thing and family is another. They feel totally separate and unable to help or change each other. So does our faith and family even make sense together? Should they? Is that even possible? And if so, what does that even look like? I want to look at a passage today from the book written by a guy named John. A guy who could actually say that he and Jesus were close friends. I'd even say best friends. They were friends after spending 3 years living and traveling together. They would have probably felt more like family. And in John 13, the night Jesus is arrested and the night before he's killed, we find Jesus having a final meal with his friends. No one but Jesus knew that it was their final meal together before everything changed. So you can imagine how complicated this must have felt to Jesus. The passage starts with this. It was just before the Passover festival, Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. So, just like you love your complicated family, Jesus loved his disciples. They didn't do everything right, not by a long shot, but Jesus still loved them. Knowing his time with them was coming to an end, listen to what he did. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. Now, if you think this sounds awkward now, you have no idea how awkward it was to the disciples. Even though foot washing was a common thing then, imagine how nasty feet got walking along the dirt roads in sandals. Jesus was a teacher. He was an authority, a public figure, and people in his position didn't wash other people's feet. That's what servants did. So the disciples didn't know how to respond to Jesus' crazy act of kindness and service right there in front of them. Jesus went on to explain that one of them would betray him and told Peter in front of everyone that Peter would deny his friendship with Jesus altogether. It was a complicated moment. Lots of competing emotions, and with all that is happening, Jesus tells his disciples, "A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." Jesus is saying, you remember what I just did a few minutes ago? How I acted like a servant and washed your feet? How I humbled myself? How I chose to honor you when things felt confusing and strange and complicated? How I showed my love for you then, even when it felt awkward. I want you to do that for one another. Show that kind of love, that kind of service, that kind of devotion. And by doing that, by showing that kind of love to each other, everyone around you will know you are my followers. See what I did? Go do the same. And from there, the questions that come our way are, first, how will people know that you are a follower of Jesus? Second, what will show the people closest to you that you follow God? And third, what will the people around see that tells them about your faith? The answer is simple: love. Now, this seems like something Jesus would say, right? But when you think about the fact that he said it after he just washed their feet, it goes next level. They had no idea just how loving that act was. Jesus knew that a close friend would betray him, and another close friend would deny ever knowing him. And despite all of that, Jesus still focused on love. He gave us an incredible example of what we're supposed to do with the people who are closest to us. We are to love. Your friends, your teachers, strangers, and even your family will know your faith by the way you love. And in the middle of showing kindness that goes unappreciated and misunderstood, love. In the middle of a betrayal, love. In the middle of a denial, love. In the middle of unfairness, just love. Demonstrating love in difficulty changes you. It makes you more like Christ, and that should be the goal for every single one of us. God wants to use our family situation, the good and the bad, as something that grows our ability to love. Why? Because love is what matters most. So what does it look like to love in the middle of complicated family situations? The Apostle Paul would later write about love and tell us, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. If we were to ask Jesus or Paul what faith would look like in our complicated families, I think this is what they'd say. Let your faith in Jesus move you to love the people you live with. Love with patience. Love with kindness. Love in a way that honors the people around you. Love in a way that is slow to anger and doesn't keep a record of wrongs. In other words, if you want your faith to help your family, then show as much love as you can, because it never, never fails. Think of it this way. When it comes to your faith and your family, love matters most. Trying to love this way can seem overwhelming. So here's a good way to start. Which one of these applications of love stands out to you? Which one do you need to focus on bringing to your family now? Is it kindness? Is it being slow to anger? Maybe it's patience. These things don't make you a doormat. They allow you to be a demonstration for God. So pick one and ask God to give you the power to start demonstrating it with your family. It could mean that you start being more patient with your parents when they ask you to do something that you really don't want to do. It could mean being more kind to your siblings when they drive you nuts. It could mean not being arrogant when you think you're right or when you talk about what you believe. It could mean celebrating and affirming others when good things happen in their lives instead of being angry that those things didn't happen to you. It could mean not being rude to your stepmom or not being hot-tempered in your reactions with your dad. Even if you wouldn't call yourself a church person or a Jesus follower, being more kind and patient or being slow to anger will still absolutely help your family. If you're somebody who would say you have faith, love is the best way to demonstrate it. Jesus said it himself. Now, I realize this sounds nice to hear, but I know that it's not easy, especially within our complicated families. There's no way that I can address every complicated, unique family situation in one talk. But that's why it's important to have people in your life, a trusted adult or a group of friends at your church who can be there for you, a place you can talk about it and process it. Now, I know this may feel impossible, but just imagine if your family could actually be better than they are now. And imagine if your faith could actually grow because of your family. I believe it's possible. And I would love for you to talk to God and would encourage you to talk to those around you about it this week. Because when it comes to your family, your faith matters. And when it comes to your faith, your family matters. And when you combine the two, love matters most.
All right, that was a great message that we just heard about family and about the importance of loving one another. So I just want to encourage you, wherever you are right now, look over to the person next to you. If they're your homie or your friend, just take their shoes off and just give them a nice foot rub. Or if you're really close with them, just take your mask off and whisper something very sweet in there. Okay, don't do that, actually, that's a joke. Anyways, back to the serious part. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being here with us. Thank you for continuing to view the videos, view the live streams, and I hope to see you in person next week on the rotating basis. So for this next week, just have a blessed time, go out, do the Lord's work, and make sure that you're staying in your Bible, because that's always good for you and always encouraging. So for now, this is intern Nick signing off, and I'm gonna do, let's see, what kind of pose? Yo.